everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be making 3 Christmas cards that express the reason for the season, starting off with a light-up card. So for that card, I'm going to be using this InLoveArts Prayer Joy Word cutting die set, and I fell in love with it the first time I saw it because of the sweet nativity scene in the center. I'm also going to be using this absolutely gorgeous 6x6 paper pack from the Not Too Shabby shop, and it's called Rejoice, and I absolutely love it. And it is double-sided, so there are a lot of beautiful possibilities. And from Pear Blossom Press, I will be using these must-haves for making a light-up card, and that's going to include their easy lights and a little stamp set that is perfect for interactive cards, and their world's best foam tape that is double thick and the perfect height for using with their easy lights. And I'll tell you more about that while I'm using it. So as I said, card number 1 is going to be a light-up card, and I've decided to use some gold foil cardstock along with this gorgeous paper from that pack. And this will be a mini slimline card, and for that I'm using a piece of cardstock that is 6 inches by 7 inches, and with the 7-inch side across the top of my scoreboard, I'm scoring that in half at 3.5 inches, or you could just fold it in half if you're good at that. And I have no idea what happened to the lighting in this clip, sorry about that. Anyways, once that is scored and folded in half, we have a mini slimline card that is 3.5 inches by 6 inches. And I've cut my layers, and those dimensions are right here on the screen. Next, I'm using my Sizzix Big Shot Switch Plus and die cutting that word and image from the pattern paper. And it cuts so beautifully. And I'm going to be setting the actual cutout aside for another card. And now I'm using that same die to cut the gold cardstock, and I didn't show it, but I lined it up so that when the 2 layers are together, they'll be layered perfectly on top of each other. I also cut 2 more of those with black cardstock, and I'm using my Zig 2-way glue pen to layer them together with the gold one on top because I wanted to add a little dimension. This is a great technique if you want to add a little dimension, but not too much, or you don't want to have to use foam tape, and it also makes the die cuts more sturdy. Now you can see what I meant about the die cut openings lining up perfectly once they're layered. And I'm using a piece of vellum to go behind the opening of the top layer, and actually it ends up being layered between the top layer and the back layer. And I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1 to do that so that I can get glue around all of the edges of the cutout area, and then I'm inlaying the die cut piece into that opening. And if you noticed, I'm not wasting anything because that is the piece that I die cut from the gold cardstock that I'm using for the back layer. And the piece that was die cut from the pattern paper, I'm using on the next card. So now that I have everything layered together, I'm just adding some glue to the die cut image, and I'm going to inlay that into the cutout opening. Now it's time to start working on the easy light element, and they are really easy to use. You just snap them apart and the wires and lights are already attached and ready to use. And I'm just placing them where I want them and making sure that the lights are facing the front of the card. They're yellow, so you can tell which way they're facing. And I'm just using Scotch tape to hold them in place. And the easy lights come with the batteries, and so I put in a battery so that I can test the lights to make sure that everything looks the way that I want it to. I don't want to find out after I've got it all put together that the lights are in the wrong place. So I'm also using Scotch tape to tape the wires in place out of the way, and they're very flexible, so you can kind of curl them up, but don't bend them in half or, don't crimp them or anything like that. But you can easily tape them where they won't show. Next, I'm using some double-sided tape on the battery pack to hold it in place where I want it. To be honest, I meant to attach it to the left side so that when I flipped it over, it would be on the right side, but it worked out anyway. And now that I have all that in place, I'm going to start adding the double-sided foam tape. And I love this World's Best foam tape from Pear Blossom Press because it's repositional for 30 minutes and then permanent in 24 hours. That way, if you don't get things on straight the first time, you can lift it up and reposition it without destroying anything. And the purpose for the double-sided tape is so that everything is even with the battery pack. Because if you don't do that, then when you glue your card top to the card base, you would have a bulge where the battery pack is. So, the World's Best foam tape was actually made to be the perfect height for that battery pack. But before they came out with that, I used whatever double-sided foam tape I had on hand. Anyway, as you can see, I needed to lift up my card top and put it back down again to get it on straight, and it was so easy to do with that foam tape. Okay, now so the recipient will know where to press to make the light come on, I used the stamp that says press, and I stamped and heat embossed that with gold embossing powder on a piece of that same pattern paper so that it blends in perfectly and doesn't stand out like a sore thumb. And I made sure to glue it in the right spot. That paper from the Rejoice paper pad from the Not Too Shabby shop is beyond gorgeous. And the InLoveArts Prayer Joy cutting die with the nativity scene in the center of it is so beautiful. And if that weren't enough, the easy lights just bring the whole thing to life for an absolutely stunning Christmas card. This was the perfect combination. Okay, for card number 2, I'm making a simple and elegant A2 size card. I'm using the shadow layer die for the word joy, and I cut that from some gold cardstock. And I'm using the joy die cut that is from the pattern paper from the light up card, and I cut out a few more from black cardstock, and I'm layering them all together to create some dimension, and I'm using my Zig two-way glue pen to do that. As you can tell, I love using this technique to create a little dimension, and it also makes it a little sturdier, almost like chipboard. And then I layer that on top of the gold shadow background. And for this card, I'm using a piece of white pearl cardstock for the very back layer and the top layer. And as you can see, that top layer was cut out of the center of the back layer so that I'm not wasting anything. And you can also see that I'm using the gold cardstock that I cut the shadow piece from for the word joy. So again, I'm not wasting anything because I like to make my specialty papers go as far as possible. And besides, nobody's ever going to know. I really love this InLoveArts die set. It really shows the meaning of Christmas, and I can see so many ways to use it. Today I'm just giving you a couple of ideas, like the light up card that looks so amazing with the glow of the lights behind it, and this card, which could almost be considered a clean and simple card, but I like to refer to it as a simple and elegant card. And I could have left it just the way it was, but I decided I wanted to add a gold glitter gem to the center of the star. Card number 3 is another elegant A2 size card, but this time I'm using the InLoveArts Christmas Lace Ball Decoration cutting die that has a beautiful nativity scene in the center of that. And it is so elegant, and I am using the Christmas in Gold 6x6 paper pack from Not Too Shabby shop, And those papers are also elegant and classy. And just like the other papers I used, these are double-sided, so you have so many beautiful papers to work with. I know the gold is looking a little orange in these pictures, but you'll see here in this picture that it is a beautiful gold. And I'm using gold foil cardstock along with one of the papers from that pack that has stars on it. And I don't think you're going to need me to talk you through what I'm doing, so I'm going to be playing some Christmas music for you to listen to while you watch the process. Thank you all so much for stopping by and letting me share some Christmas card inspiration with you. And if you would like to see other light up card videos that have more of a tutorial to it, I will have that linked right here on the screen as the video is ending, and also links in the description box to Pear Blossom Press where you can find the supplies that I used. And if you're interested in the cutting dies that I used from InLoveArts, I will also have links to those below in the description box, as well as a 25% off discount code to InLoveArts should you decide to shop there. Merry Christmas and happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.